You can order the front brake backing plate used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Turn your engine off and set the parking brake. We recommend loosening the nut on the end of the transmission once the vehicle is on the ground. If your vehicle is equipped with aluminum rims, you will need to remove the wheel first before you can remove the central rim cover. Use a breaker bar and a 30mm socket to unblock the nut on the end of the transmission. Loosen the stud bolts on the front wheels. In order to change the front brake backing plate on your vehicle, you will need to remove the wheels to have full access. Lift the front of your vehicle. Place the vehicle on the jack stands. We strongly suggest watching our video on how to jack your Toyota Camry safely before carrying out this step. Don't forget to put the wheels under the vehicle. Finish unscrewing the nut on the end of the transmission. It is now necessary to remove the caliper assembly. Turn the disc outwards. This will facilitate the following steps. Using a socket wrench and a 17mm socket, unscrew the two holding screws on the caliper mount. Tip: attach a piece of electrical cable or a hook to one of the strut spring coils. Remove the caliper assembly and hang it on the hook. Then remove the disc. Using a ratchet, an extender, and a 10mm socket, unscrew the ABS sensor's retaining bolt. Then remove the sensor. It is now time to remove the outer tie rod from the knuckle. Remove the key from the castellated nut of the outer tie rod with a screwdriver. Using a socket wrench and a 17mm socket, unscrew the outer tie rod holding nut. If you do not have a ball joint puller, a tool specifically designed for this task, take a hammer and hit the knuckle. The ball joint should come out of the knuckle. Using a flathead screwdriver, unfold the pin from the castle nut of the lower ball joint. Then remove it using pliers. Brush the nut of the lower ball joint and spray it with penetrating oil. Unscrew the nut a few threads using a 19mm wrench. Brush the two strut foot bolts, then spray them with penetrating oil. Next, using a ratchet, a 22mm socket, and a 22mm wrench to prevent the bolt from rotating, unscrew the strut foot nuts. Then remove the bolts. You can use a pin punch and a plastic mallet. Separate the strut foot from the wheel knuckle by prying it using a large screwdriver. The wheel knuckle is now free. Then shift the wheel knuckle by disengaging it from the front CV axle. Finish unscrewing the nut of the lower ball joint. Then remove the lower ball joint from the wheel knuckle. You can use a hammer to help you. remove the wheel knuckle. Using a 10mm wrench, unscrew the 4 bolts holding the brake backing plate. Then, remove them. However, to remove the backing plate and install a new one, you will need to remove the wheel hub using a hydraulic press. Removing a wheel hub always damages the wheel bearing, hence the need to replace it at the same time. To find out more about this operation, we recommend that you watch our video, How to Replace the Front Wheel Hub and Bearing, Toyota Camry. Hey, it's Alex from CarParts.com. If you enjoyed this video and want to support us, like, comment, and subscribe. Okay, back to work. You can order the front brake backing plate used in the video on CarParts.com via the link in the description. Take the brake backing plate. Be careful not to make the mistake of installing the wheel hub before putting the brake backing plate back in place. If you do, you will need to remove the wheel hub again and necessarily replace your wheel bearing again. Then screw the 4 bolts back on. To put the wheel hub back in place, we recommend that you watch our video, How to Replace the Front Wheel Hub and Bearing, Toyota Camry. Put the wheel knuckle back onto the lower ball joint. Then, loosely screw the nut back on. You must now fit the CV axle back into the wheel knuckle. Insert the wheel knuckle into the strut foot. Replace the bolts. Then screw the nuts back on by hand at first. Screw the strut foot nuts back on until they make contact using a ratchet, a 22mm socket, and a 22mm wrench to prevent the bolt from rotating. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Using a wire brush, scrub the knuckle of the wheel knuckle, then apply silicone grease to the flat part that will be in contact with the sleeve of the outer tie rod. Do not grease the inside of the cone. Put the outer tie rod back in place in the knuckle. Reassemble the castle nut and tighten it using a 19mm wrench. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Take the key and fit it into the castle nut. Use a screwdriver to bend the key. Finish tightening the nut holding the lower ball joint using a torque wrench. Take the key and fit it into the castle nut. Use a screwdriver to bend the key. You can purchase the parts we used here by visiting our website at CarParts.com. Reinstall the brake disc. You can now reinstall the caliper assembly. And screw it back on. Finish tightening using a torque wrench. Don't forget to remove the cable that you used to hold the caliper assembly together. Insert the ABS sensor into its housing. Then, retighten the retaining bolt. We recommend replacing the hub nut with a new one. and screw it back on. Then you will be able to put the wheels back on your vehicle. Put the car back on the ground and block the wheels properly. Finish tightening the hub nut once the vehicle is on the ground using a torque wrench. Crimp the nut at the end of the transmission using a pin punch and a hammer. Put the central rim cover back on. Operation complete.